So let's get started. We've got a lot to do. So let's just try out these clickers to make sure they work with a very non-important, non-essential question. The question is, if you were required to take an AP course yourself at this point in your career, which of the following would you choose? Number 1, art history. Number 2, environmental science. Number 3, psychology. Number 4, Spanish. Number 5, statistics. Great, let's see, we've got about 80 responses. Well, this is not the same group as yesterday. So that's good, we'll merge the results together. Yesterday's group was larger than this, but very different response. Yesterday the group picked AP Psychology pretty dominantly. You all picked Art History. Let's go on to find out who is in the room. Describe your role, and you can click as many times as you want if you have more than one of these roles. So District Administrator, School Administrator, Counselor, AP Coordinator, AP Teacher, Other Teacher, or Other. Okay. So 28% of you are district administrators, 30% are school administrators, 11% are counselors, 20% are AP coordinators, 15% AP teachers. More AP teachers here in the room today. 6% other teachers, 21% other. Because some of you who are other, quickly just tell us who you are, what your role is.
State University.
University, great. What university are you from?
Baker University in Kansas.
Wonderful, thanks. Others?
State.
State official, wonderful. What state do you represent? Georgia, great. Others? Others who are other? Wow. Suppressed others, okay. Let's go on. Would your school be eager to offer any of the following proposed new AP courses? And you can choose as many as you wish that your school will be eager to offer. We receive about 75 of these requests at any one point in time from different groups that would be interested in seeing an AP course in their discipline. And what's important to us is knowing what schools want and what higher education wants. Again, you can click as many as you wish that your school will be eager to offer. Now, career technical ed, we don't really know what that means, but we're frequently asked, we wish AP would offer courses in career and technical ed. So I put it up there, and maybe if you vote for that, you can tell me what that means. Okay, let's see what you said. Okay, so the top interest is in anatomy and physiology, as it was yesterday. Number 5, college algebra, which is a new addition today. I hadn't thought to put it on the list, and people in the room in large numbers brought it up. So that's interesting that that's what you're saying as well. It looks like engineering is in 3rd place. It was in 2nd place yesterday because there was not college algebra on the list. Awesome. 38% for career and technical ed. Let's talk. What is that? What would you want AP to do in that area? Accounting, yep. So we've got accounting is number 1, 27% for that. Good. And there's actually a representative here at the conference from AICPA, Certified Public Accountants, talking to many of you about whether you'd be interested in an AP accounting course as that group tries to build support for that. Yep.
Webmastering on the technical side.
Webmastering, technical side. Good, that's interesting. Yes, in the back.
Biotech.
Biotech, okay, good. Yep.
But for me, career and technical ed is in writing a business plan.
Uh-huh. So,
Entrepreneurship.
yeah, we've heard of sort of an intro to business course, and there's one in our CLEP program that is interesting. Yes, please.
Digital media.
Digital media, okay, good. Any others that sort of came to your mind when you voted for career and technical ed?
Finance.
Finance, okay, great. Others? Yes.
Understanding how to do what we're looking at right now, taking data and putting it into a bar graph, using programs that are used in the workplace, whether it's numbers or Excel, and truly mastering those so that they walk out with the resident. Something that's, skills pay bills. So that's what I'm looking at career tech ed, that would give them a marketable angle in their resume straight out of high school.
Great, so I don't know if you could hear that, but because the speaker was at the front of the room speaking forward, but she talked about training in the sort of technical skills that you need in the workplace related to the suite of Office products and so on. sounded like Excel and the ability to create graphs and charts. And you said, in fact, skills pay bills. Right? So, any other comments on career and technical ed for AP? Okay, great. If you're sitting around here, you might want to holler because the light is so bright that I cannot see you. Any other comments on here? Are there people who voted in other? Only 1% of you voted in the other. Are there other AP courses that you would really want us to offer that are not on this list? Okay, great. This is helpful. Thanks. So we're going to talk about a variety of these sorts of ideas today that the College Board has been exploring. Some of them we've explored in a great deal of depth. We've actually done pilots, and so we've learned a lot about them. Some of them we haven't learned as much about yet, so we'll have a lot of questions for you. And we'll want your guidance throughout the day as to what you'd like us to focus on. Now, there are College Board staff sitting all around the room who work on each of these projects, and I am going to not introduce them in advance for fear that their overwhelming charisma would sway your votes as I ask you to tell us how important these things would be to you. So I'll introduce them at the end in case you'd like to talk with them more about any of these projects, but they will sit and fret as you talk about their ideas, and then we'll vote on them as we go. Okay, so if you were now to pick only one of those possible new AP courses for us to focus on developing, this time you only get to vote for one, which one would you vote for? Which one would your school be most likely or most eager to offer? Okay. 51% AP Anatomy and Physiology, number 5, 21% for engineering, and then 11% for accounting. Great, thanks very much. Let's go on to a completely different topic. Something I don't love about the current AP system is that we've invested a lot in providing online scores for educators, because it was painful to me, as it was no doubt for many of you, that educators were frequently the last or never found out about their own students' scores, because a packet of paper scores would go to an AP coordinator in a school, and who knows if they would ever make it into a teacher's hands or not. It put a burden on the AP coordinator to figure out what to do with all that paper they were getting. So we worked really hard to put in place online score reporting for educators first. But what that means is that students still get their scores by mail, much later than educators do, or there's this horrific system where the students can pay money call in and get their AP scores if they want to get them by phone, which is something I really hate, right? Because the kids have already paid for an AP exam fee, and then to say to them, but if you want to know your scores a few weeks early, you can call this number and pay $8. And it almost makes it seem to the students as if we could actually mail them their scores early, but we're just not, because we want them to call and pay us money. I mean, I hate everything about it. We have to pay another, it's something we put in place because many students did want to get their scores before they would come in the mail, but then we have to pay another company to provide that service, so there's that fee associated with it. We just hate it altogether. So we would like to invest in building our own experience online that can be free to all students, whereby they could log in as soon as the scores are available, and not just get their score, but have a really affirmative experience, whereby they are seeing their score and being connected to other courses they might want to take in college based on what they learned in AP, regardless of whether they got a 5 or a 2. Something that would really point them in the direction of further career studies, that might tell them about other AP courses they might want to take if they're still in high school, or non-AP courses that they might want to take. So we'd like it to be really a sort of affirmative experience. This is sort of a mock-up of what the advertising campaign might look like for students, so that we could let them know that if we did this, next year paper reports would go away altogether, and students would simply come online to a certain website and log in and get their scores. So I'd like your feedback on this. Here's a sort of flow chart of what the experience might be. We'd enable all AP students to get their scores through the site, and it would give them a channel whereby they could send their scores out to colleges. Because right now that's kind of confusing to students. I get lots of questions via Twitter. Our call service gets a lot of questions about how do I actually get a score to a college, and how do I know which of my scores have gone to colleges? On exam day, they bubbled something in on their answer sheet, but that's the last thing on their mind on exam day is figuring out what college they want their score to go to. So they've frequently forgotten what's even happening with their score. So this will make it really easy for students to track what's happening to their AP results. So I'd like your feedback on this. It's a sort of Likert scale. AP should provide online score reports for students next year. Number 1 is strongly agree, number 2 is agree, number 3 is neutral, number 4 is disagree, number 5 is strongly disagree. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of hard. What Stalinist in the room would say, no, we don't want students to be able to get scores online. So some of these questions will be easy, like this one, but they will become harder when I ask you to compare this project to other projects. Because to be very transparent with you about College Board funding, after the AP exam fees are collected, we pay off the cost of having printed, shipped, and scored those exams. We pay our rent, we pay our power bills. We then have $22 million left per year to invest in AP. Of that $22 million, $12 million is allocated to the redesign of the AP courses and exams. You all have heard about that. So that covers some teacher training scholarships that we provide, as well as all the work to redesign those exams. That leaves about $10 million for us to invest in new projects and new initiatives. And so of all the ideas we share with you today, $10 million won't cover all of them. So we use conversations like this and larger research across the AP community to help us decide what you would want us to do. And then the College Board takes that information to our Board of Trustees. College Board staff take that to our Board of Trustees, show them what you are valuing, and our Board of Trustees makes the final decision. So that's how we work as a nonprofit membership organization. So we'll use input such as you provide today to take to our Board of Trustees to say, these are things that the AP community would like us to do with the $10 million of surplus that we have to invest back into AP this year. So these questions will get harder, but it's good to see that you care about students. Let's go on to AP credit policies, which is also related to students. Here's the current state of AP credit policies nationwide. You can see on the left are some bars that represent all of the higher education institutions. It's about 1,100 that were in this sample, so very representative. On the right, you see just the 200 universities that receive the most AP scores. These are the really selective universities, like Stanford, UCLA, University of Florida, Dartmouth, Princeton, University of Texas, and so on. So you can see the patterns are not dissimilar. The red bars represent the percentage of credit policies that continue to give credit for scores of 3. So you can see that between 61 and 65% of credit policies give credit for 3. Between 33 and 34% of credit policies only give credit for scores of 4 or better. And between 2 to 5% of credit policies only give credit for scores of 5. So in addition, 13 states have implemented statewide policies whereby every state college or university is required to give college credit for scores of 3. So there's been real progress on that front as more and more states have been moving to that position. So this has been counterbalancing some of the restriction of AP credit that has happened at the very most selective institutions, a restriction that they have felt they have needed to do simply because they receive so many AP scores. When Harvard made the decision